You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. So LSU beats UCLA on Saturday, 34-17. And it was really a tale of two halves. First half, LSU defensively was not very good. The offense missed some opportunities, notably going for 4th and 7 around midfield, not converting. And you went into half tied at 17. The second half was a dramatic about-face. LSU outscored UCLA 17-0. The defense gave up 89 yards of total offense and pitched a shutout. That was awesome. The question really is now, how do you get to see that over 4 quarters? If LSU ever puts that together over 4 quarters, they could be pretty good. I don't know if they're a playoff team, a contending team, or anything like that, but they could be much better than they are now if they could go play a full 4-quarter game. But what's interesting is coming into this year, we all sort of had this notion about defensive tackle, and I don't mean like we, you, me, fans, media, whatever. That extends to the coaching staff. I mean, Brian Kelly told you after the spring game there was one position where they had to go in the portal and address, and it was interior defensive tackle. And we know they went after Dominic Williams from TCU, picked Oklahoma. They went after the kid from Michigan State, whose name I never remember, who picked Miami. And it was just a problem. But what's so interesting is as the season has gone along, it's actually pretty clear that the defensive front seven isn't your weakness. Like, I'm looking at Pro Football Focus grades from the UCLA game. I'll just go in defensively. Highest graded players. JVR Suggs, defensive lineman. Braden Swinson, defensive lineman. Savion Jones, defensive lineman. Jordan Allen, safety, but he only played 7 snaps. And then Zy Alexander, who only played 19 snaps. Gio Paez, defensive lineman. Dominic McKinley, defensive lineman. Parashan, defensive lineman. You get the point? Your defensive line is actually playing the best of the 3 levels of your defense. Brian Kelly was actually asked today about interior defensive line, it's number 6, kind of developing into a strength on this defense.
A lot of the offseason was about, what are you going to do with the defensive line? They have been a strength for us. Bo's done a great job of making sure that those guys are gap conscious and fundamentally sound and getting off the ball. And we're playing with, as I mentioned, at one time we had Relaford, we had McKinley, we had Ahmad Bro, all on the field at one time. You had Spears at safety. You have 5 true freshmen on the field at one time, and those defensive tackles are doing a really good job. You had Suggs with his first step quickness. He's healthier now. He was battling an ankle injury. We got him back in the mix. Now you've got some versatility. You've got some big bodies that can stop the run. You get some guys now that can add some pass rush. It's starting to come together for us.
They are unquestionably better coached than they were a year ago. Bo Davis he is maximizing the guys you have. And then he also mentioned the 5 freshmen. My contention all last week, I've said this, it is so apparent what they are doing. Because we saw Brian Kelly do it 2 years ago with the offensive line. He looked at Will Campbell and Emory Jones and said, I know you're freshmen, but my goodness, your ceiling is so high, and the veteran guys we have aren't playing well, so I'm going to take my growing pains with you two because it's going to benefit us on the back end. And now, look, you've got a first-round tackle tandem. They're doing the same thing on defense. All the guys he just mentioned. McKinley, Relaford, Woodland, Spears, all the young guys. Bro, just put all the young guys out there. So your front 7 and really your defensive line has been really good. The very obvious problem you have right now is your secondary, in particular safety play. I think Brian Kelly even mentioned it today. I don't know what cut it is, but he talked about the right before half when UCLA goes and scores. Remember, LSU calls they rejected the 10-second runoff, which I have no problem with. LSU had a timeout. They're trying to get the ball back. Okay, I have no problem with that. The strategy makes sense. Get a stop, get the ball back, go score again before half. Well, then what happened? They throw a ball down the right sideline. Ashton Stamps is right there. The ball gets tipped up, and the receiver stays with it and makes a great catch down at like the 3-yard line. God bless. The kid made a great play. I can live with that. What you can't live with is what happened all of last year with the coverage busts. And it's not just coverage now, it's tackling from your safeties as well. That's been such a problem. I mentioned Pro Football Focus, and I always say this. Pro Football Focus is a metric. It's not the metric. But I'm just going to start with the bottom. Just start at the bottom and work my way up of the Pro Football Focus defensive grades from this past week. There were 25 players for LSU that took defensive snaps. The lowest graded, P.J. Woodland. Second lowest, Jair Brown. Third lowest, J.K. Johnson. Fourth lowest, Jordan Gilbert. Fifth lowest, Major Burns. Sixth lowest, Deshaun Spears. And then Whit Weeks. Then Harold Perkins. Then a freshman in Gabe Rutherford. The 6 lowest graded defensive players against UCLA. All 6. The 6 lowest graded defensive backs. You were so bad on the back end. The great thing is you've eliminated one gigantic problem of a year ago, which was the coverage busts. They have oversimplified defensively, and I will salute Corey Raymond for that. He said the one thing we are not going to do is watch dudes running free in the secondary like they did a year ago. So they have simplified everything. But what is happening right now that is so clear is even your veteran guys back there, guys that have played 3 and 4 and 5 years of college football, are among your lowest graded players. So Brian Kelly and his staff are at the point with the secondary where they were with the tackles 2 years ago and with the defensive line right now to say, you know what? If the guys that have been here for 3 and 4 and 5 years are making these mistakes and not playing well, hell, put the talented young guys out there and just let them develop. That's why Deshaun Spears is starting. That's why you're going to start seeing more of Kylan Jackson. That's why P.J. Woodland was in that goal-to-go situation. He gave up the touchdown, but he had great blanket coverage. Good throw, good catch. You're just going to see the younger guys with the higher ceiling if the veteran guys aren't playing well. Like in 2022, Joe Fouché was a very physically limited player, but he played 5 years of college football, all in the SEC, was always where he was supposed to be, assignment sound, communicated, knew all of that stuff. I asked Brian Kelly today at the press conference, and I did not ask him a leading question. It wasn't, Coach, your safeties are so bad. I said, after watching the film, what did you think of your safety play against UCLA? Open-ended. Could go wherever he wanted with it. Listen to his answer.
We're not putting them on an island as much as what we want is real good leverage on the football, sure tackling, and great communication. If you give me those 3 things, then we'll begin to add to the menu in terms of doing other things. Then we'll put you on the slot a little bit more. Then we'll bring you down and blitz you a little bit more off the edge. But we need those 3 things. So we kind of peeled it back a little bit and wanted to look at more safeties to get those 3 things down. The fundamentals of playing really good safety require those 3 things. We saw a little bit more of that this weekend. We need to see a little bit more as we get ready to move into SEC play.
Leverage on the ball, tackling, communicate. Yo, they played 6 safeties Saturday. 6. Generally, you have 2 safeties on the field, a free safety and a strong safety. And in some sets, if you're dime, you can put a third safety on the field. They played 6 guys at safety on Saturday. You don't think they're auditioning right now? UCLA, South Alabama, they are auditioning to see who is going to man the back end of this defense when they get into the meat grinder of October. Jordan Gilbert, and granted, the kid had his shoulder popped out. He came back, got a pick, but his shoulder popped out. and went back into the game. God bless him. I would imagine Jordan Gilbert's tackling grade was a 22.3. I can imagine, God bless him, I think Jordan can be a good player. I'm going to give him a break. When your shoulder pops out, I'm going to guess it's hard to go tackle at safety when you had a dislocated shoulder. I can give Jordan Gilbert a break there. Major Burns was your next lowest graded safety. And, I mean, Deshaun Spears graded higher than Burns and Gilbert. Your two most veteran guys back there. Yeah, he should be playing out there. And he was really good in run defense. Deshaun Spears had a 69.5, nearly a 70 grade in run defense. His tackling grade was 42.5. That was 42.4. That was where he got dinged a little bit. Jordan Allen graded exceptionally high, but only played 7 snaps. 74.3 tackling, 72.4 in coverage. 4th highest graded player in the secondary. Or I mean on defense. So, yeah. You can play the young guys. If the veteran guys continue to make those mistakes, can't play with leverage, can't tackle, can't communicate, put the talented young guys out there and see if they can do it better, because they got the higher ceiling. Same as you did with Emory Jones and Will Campbell 2 years ago. It's going to pay dividends long term, and maybe by the end of this season. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.